Every year in the NFL, it's a new team. As far as goals go, we have one. Putting a f***ing ring on our finger.
Welcome to the Buccaneers Observer Podcast. This is Ralph Phillips.
I'm Molly Bay.
Today is November 18th, 2021. 4 days. Let me see. What do we got? 1, 2, 3 days until... No, 4, because we play Monday night.
It's 4. Yeah,
That's right. We got it. I don't even want to say this is a big show. Maybe even not a good show.
It's a show.
I'm not in a very good mood.
I know, Ralph. What is going on?
Well, I spent 2 days doing this game film, got it all ready, and all of a sudden, Rick Stroud has to be a pissy bitch.
It's Tampa Bay Times, not like the TMZ of Florida.
I just burn it down, man.
Figuratively.
Yeah, figuratively. Right. Yeah, exactly. Get banned or the FBI kick my door in or some crap. If you're not aware, the Tampa Bay Times put out a piece accusing Antonio Brown of using fake vaccine cards or a fake vaccine card. Now, this was a long piece. I didn't get the wordage on it, but I think it's probably the longest piece I've ever seen Rick Stroud write. Oh, it was detailed. It went into the nitty gritty and the backstory of Antonio Brown and how he's a piece of crap and doesn't pay his debts and all kinds of good stuff. It was a work of art. I don't even know what to say, but I'm just so flabbergasted. And if you don't know now that these reporters are not our friends, then I don't know what to tell you. They do everything they can to hurt this team, or at least, you might not say they're purposely trying to hurt the team, but they don't have a problem. They're going to put more work into bringing people down, destroying careers, attacking people than they are, I don't know, learning about football or watching game film or knowing what the hell they're talking about. It's just,
Of all the stuff that you can talk about with the NFL. Right. I mean, there are 16 games a week.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of football out there.
From 2 different perspectives, the perspective of each team. Yeah. You could do any number of things with that. And this is what they want to talk about.
Yeah, you figure there's 16 games generally, bye weeks and stuff like that. It pops down to 12 or whatever. That's 150 plays. That's approximately 150 plays per game. You've got all these coaches who spend hours and hours and hours devising game plans and players who spend hours and hours and hours practicing, getting these game plans in their head and getting ready for them and everything. And then after the game, what do these idiots talk about? Stats, or they talk about human interest stories. That's it. That's all these guys ever talk about are those 2 things, because they're lazy and they're cowards. They're not gonna talk about anything that requires them actually having to do anything. What they do is they talk about rumors and what somebody said or did or what they're like. I can't. I am so mad right now. Okay, here's the story. Apparently, Antonio Brown had hired a personal chef to help him with this TB12 stuff. And he brought the personal chef from California and had him move to Florida. And the personal chef became a friend, and because that's what you want to do with anybody that's cooking your food. You want them to be your friend. And
fair enough.
Apparently the personal chef hung out with his girlfriend, who's a model, and they did stuff together. So, it wasn't like this guy was just a regular employee. It seems like these guys always get personal with their personal assistants or, these guys that they hire. Well, anyhow, apparently this Gruez guy claims that Antonio Brown now owes him $10,000. They had a falling out over it. Apparently, Antonio Brown paid the guy $46,000 or something, and the guy said, "No, you owe me." I don't know. I couldn't figure it out, but it's a $10,000 difference between the two. Well, this guy gets upset, and Antonio Brown tried to patch things up with him, but apparently that didn't work. So this guy goes to Kevin Blatt, who, if you're not familiar with Kevin Blatt, it's because you don't pay attention to TMZ and the Hollywood Reporter and all the crap that goes on in Hollywood, because that's who this guy is. You remember the Paris Hilton tape? That was Kevin Blatt.
Oh, the sex tape?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's what this guy does.
Okay.
And the girl that played Pippi Longstockings, she put out a sex tape through Kevin Blatt. The guy's a real crappy person, to say the least. Anyhow, so this personal chef goes to this guy and tells him, "Hey, I saw Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown asked me to get fake vaccination cards. I couldn't get it, but I saw Antonio Brown had fake vaccination cards." So this Blatt guy calls up, what's his name? He's the lead counsel for the Buccaneers. Dan Mulaski. He's the chief legal officer. He calls him up on October 16th or 18th, something like that. And he tells him, says, "Hey, I just want to let you know that you have some issues on your team with guys with fake vaccination cards." He didn't tell him who. He didn't say names and everything like that. Now, of course, Rick Stroud makes it sound like this guy, was being Mr. nice guy. I just want to let you know that all this, and the way Rick Stroud worded it, you could tell Rick Stroud's got a big boner for this guy, because obviously this is what Rick Stroud looks up to. And the he said that he told chief legal counsel, "Hey, I just want to let you know this." And when Blatt was asked, "Did you try to get money from them to make it go away?" The guy was like, "No, that would be extortion." Right. Like, this guy has any ethics whatsoever. But, just look at his body of work, and that'll explain who this guy is. So anyhow, apparently they're not getting paid for enough, so they leak this to Rick Stroud. And Rick Stroud, of course, is going to take it and run with it. And this is the biggest news in the NFL right now.
Oh, yeah. All the big guys have picked it up now. They're reporting on it. The national media. The Bucs already put out a statement.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Antonio Brown's probably going to get cut. Or if anything, he's probably going to
the team's like, his vaccine card's fine.
Oh, well,
yeah.
In your face then.
Let me read
It would be the first
statement.
time Rick Stroud got a story completely wrong.
I know. They said, "After an extensive educational process conducted through our organization this past offseason highlighting the benefits of the COVID-19 vaccines, we received completed vaccination cards from all Tampa Bay Buccaneers players and submitted the required information to the NFL through the established process in accordance with league policy. All vaccination cards were reviewed by Buccaneers personnel and no irregularities."
It's been a long day.
I have never had no irregularities were observed.
Yeah, right. But still, that doesn't mean it wasn't a fake vaccine card. And if it was, then, Rick Stroud was nice enough to let us know in the article that it's a 5-year prison sentence. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. Of course, this is couch feigning crap over COVID. We talked about this in a few podcasts ago. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of it. And now they got to go do this, which to me, I'm like, okay, it came from a guy who feels like he's getting screwed by AB. Yeah,
so right there, it's not good faith.
Disgruntled
it's not
employee. Right.
Yeah. You're like, it's not, I don't know. It just... Okay, buddy. Like, they did have screenshots of text messages, which I'm like, you can fake that.
Right,
very easily.
Between the chef and
the
Antonio Brown's girlfriend.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Right. So this is all coming from Antonio Brown's girlfriend, who sent the text messages and said, hey, can you get us those vaccine cards that you said you could? And he says, I'll try. And of course, this Ruiz guy claims he never did, but he did see Antonio Brown with fake vaccine cards.
Well, how does he know they're fake?
Right. I know. And, it's just so much crap with this story. It's sickening.
Doesn't it even further implicate him, where they're like, oh, hey, can you try to do this? And he was like, yeah, I can get it.
Yes.
He went out and he tried to do it.
He tried to do it. He couldn't.
And
according to
allegedly,
him, of course.
Right, exactly.
Who's going to admit to a felony? I guess this would be. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it a felony?
I don't
it's just silly.
Who cares?
How in the world could that be a felony?
I know. But then for him to, he asked me for it, but he definitely didn't get him for me. Even though I tried.
He got some. I don't know where he got it from.
It wasn't me, for sure.
I know everything else about this except where he got them from.
Right. You were like, get out of here.
Yes.
I just don't,
And then to leak all this stuff, it's just vindictive. And the fact that the Times and Rick Stroud and these guys would do that. This is the same crap we saw them do with Gerald McCoy. This is the same crap we saw them do with, God, what was that coach's name? Schiano and Freeman. Remember that? Mm-hmm. It was all one side of the story, and they printed that stuff like it was gospel, and then come to find out later, Freeman's a drug addict, and he had a lot of issues going on that, these guys didn't.
Yeah. And Schiano was trying to help him, and
right.
He wasn't the monster they made him out to be.
Right. And, this stuff just pisses me off so much because I love football. The human interest stories, it's kind of a side thing with me. It's just like with stats, they're a tool. There's something to play around with, but I'm not a stat head, so I don't just consume myself with stats. And I don't consume myself with the personal lives of these players. I don't care. We've talked about this on here. I just don't care. Of course, I want them to all be perfect angels that, are great role models for our children and society in general, but it's just not going to happen. So I don't want to know that Nacho dropped dogs off in a kennel, which turned out to be a lie. Mm-hmm. And I don't want. It's like Michael Bennett. Remember him? When he played with us, I love that guy. I talked about him. I was like, he's going to be a rising star. He's going to be a rising star. And then we got rid of him. That sucked. And then we find out he left his dog here. And, he turned out to just be, personally, he was just a piece of crap person. He, lied about cops in Vegas and, busted on video, making up stuff. So, he's just a crappy person. And so you go, well, I don't want to root for a crappy person, and that's what they try to do with these people. I mean, here's what Rick Stroud says. Okay, I'm just going to pull out a few things. He said, Brown became one of only a few Tampa Bay players to be infected with COVID-19 this season. Okay. That's kind of ambiguous. What's a few? You're going to detail everything in this article, but you're not going to detail that? How many people? How many? And how many of them were vaccinated?
Right.
A lot.
Let's talk about that.
I mean, we don't know. When people go on the COVID-19 list, we don't know if they have COVID-19 or not. A lot of them are close contacts or whatever. So, but we've had, good Lord, 20 people probably that have gone on the COVID list since the beginning of the year. Anyhow, so, he makes it sound like Brown is one of the only ones that's been infected with COVID. It's because he's not vaccinated. And then he goes on, he says, Brown became one of only a few Tampa Bay players to be infected with COVID-19 this season, missing one game because of it, the Week 3 game in Los Angeles against the Rams, which the Bucs lost. Now, I am sorry. These guys are professional writers. That's what they do. They regurgitate crap onto the print page for us. They know every single word they write. They put them in an order that they want to, get the story across to people. And what he's doing right here, and he's saying, most of the players, or Brown is, he caught COVID because he didn't get the vaccine. That's basically what he's saying, right? He's saying he's one of the few players that was infected with COVID. And then he goes around and he says he missed the game, which the Bucs lost, by the way. Basically blaming Brown for losing the game. Mm-hmm. It's all insinuation. It's just nasty stuff, nasty stuff. And then he goes on and he says, it is unclear whether Brown ultimately got the vaccine, but according to Ruiz, at least over the summer, Brown tried to avoid it. Okay, now, we don't know if he did get the vaccine. We don't know if he had fake vaccine cards. He might have got fake vaccine cards and decided not to send them in, whatever. But he got COVID. He's protected now. He's immune. All right? It's better than a vaccine. So just shut up.
I know.
He got COVID. He was out 10 days, and he's back. Guess what? He didn't die. He didn't get anybody else sick. He didn't. Oh, God, if he got other people sick, they would be burning down Raymond James Stadium. Now, this is kind of a segue into the game film review. Last week, remember, when we played the Saints, I was like, our team it's something weird there. They're playing in like a fog. They just don't look right. I couldn't explain it, right? This week was kind of the same, but it was more tangible. You could actually see it on the field that there's something wrong with this team. And, this might be it. Because the legal counsel was notified on the 18th of October. We played Chicago a few days later. Then we played New Orleans after that. Then we had a bye week. Then we played the Redskins here. In the Redskins game, the Saints game, I was like, Brady was a little off. He was off target, not his usual self. In this game, he's the reason why we lost. On offense. Completely 100%. Because our offensive line did great. Our receivers did great. And we had some drop balls, but they were mainly from the running backs who Tom Brady kept throwing to. Now, Tom Brady got hit very quickly on our first series. I think it was like the third play of the game. And it was a big hit. And it looked like it was right in the ribs. And that guy put his weight on him when Brady went to the ground. It was a bam. And I know a lot of times I like to be over dramatic about this stuff and kind of blow it out of proportion, and because it's a game of inches, so an inch is really a mile. So you take the little things and you blow them up. But there was something wrong here. I do not know. And this is all pure speculation. Like I said, I was watching the game film through the whole game. I'm like, whoa, there's some serious stuff wrong going on here, and I don't know what it is. So I'm thinking Brady got hurt. Brady doesn't let people know when he's hurt, as we saw. He played all year last year with was it MCL? Mm-hmm. Nobody knew. You pointed out, he had his finger was hurt. It's on his left hand though. And, Brady's the kind of guy, he's just going to play through stuff. He's just going to stay out there. He's not going to take himself out of the game unless, he knows he's going to be a detriment to the team. And it looked like to me that, he threw the interception, the first interception. The first one bounced out of Darden's hand. But the one he threw to Mike Evans went over Evans' head and right into the defender's arms. To this day, I still don't know whose fault that was, but it very easily could have been Tom Brady's. It was just a bad throw. He threw some bad passes in this game. He was throwing short. He was throwing off target. But the big thing was after that, I counted 10 open receivers during this game that he never threw to. Now, this is not like Tom Brady at all. Those
are like worse than Jameis's numbers, too.
Yes. And I'm not talking about this. These are receivers who, are open, by a step or two in front of their defender. But no, I'm talking about this is Dirk Cutter scheming guys open. These guys were wide open. There quite a few of them were touchdown passes. One, Mike Evans was wide open in the end zone, and he would not throw it. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if he was mad at them. I don't know if he was hurt and he couldn't throw it that far. Now, he had 2 deep passes after the interception. One went to Darden. That was like 30 yards. And then he had the one to Mike Evans on the left that went for the touchdown. So, it appeared he could throw it deep. Something was going on. I don't know what it is. So then the story breaks, and I'm like, oh, well, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, and it's not only Antonio Brown implicated, because apparently Alex Guerrero is the one who, he didn't receive the vaccine card, but allegedly Antonio Brown sent him a picture of the vaccine card.
No, he came to Antonio Brown's house and took a picture and sent it in.
Oh,
to the Buccaneers.
Okay. So you have to wonder if he's wrapped up, is the team investigating? Is the league investigating?
Right.
Is Tom privy to information that we don't have? I'm sure he is.
Right. And also, according to this piece of crap article hit piece from non-fanboy Rick Stroud, the guy Pratt, or what's his name? Blatt. The TMZ guy, the sex tape guy. He said there's a number of players who have fake vaccine cards. Now, we don't, on the team, on the Buccaneers. So we don't know. That's what he told the lead counsel, the legal guy for the Buccaneers, Dan Malasky. So we don't know
the extent of it.
Yeah, we don't know if that's true. We don't know what's going on. But so obviously there's some, this has been known by the Buccaneers for a couple weeks. And it's probably, they probably sat down and talked to Antonio Brown. He's probably talked to Tom Brady. I'm sure it's just filtered throughout the team. And, this COVID stuff is dividing people all over the planet. And if somebody on the team who's, scared of COVID and he finds out that Antonio Brown didn't get his vaccine but said he did and he was hanging out with vaccine, that would rip a locker room apart.
Or if players know that they've submitted a fake card
and
are now in jeopardy of being discovered.
Yeah,
that could affect your play.
I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that could be falling out from this, but it makes sense the way we've been playing the past couple of weeks now, because I just couldn't figure it out. I talked about it in the last game analysis. I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but it's just like we're wading through a swamp, or we're just moving slow. We're not putting forth a lot of effort. It's like we're playing in a fog, and we're making silly mistakes that we just don't generally do. Anyhow, Tom Brady, there was definitely something wrong. And this is what pisses me off about these supposed media stenographers who claim to be reporters for the Buccaneers, that they don't see this crap. They don't see it because they don't look at it. You know what they do? They depend on other people to do the work for them. Like the stats. They're always talking about stats. They're not the ones collecting the stats. Somebody else is doing that work. They're just looking at a piece of paper.
They're probably not even analyzing the stats.
No, they don't analyze the stats. So somebody else analyzes the form and goes, hey, look at this. I mean, what do these guys do? Got to be the laziest people on the planet. They don't do nothing. They don't do any work. They write. That's what they do. So anyhow, get me off on a tangent with these idiots. So it was obvious watching this game film that there was something wrong with Tom Brady. I don't know if it's physical. I don't know if it's mental. I don't know, but there was something wrong. He missed seeing 10. We devastated their defense. Our offensive line we just dominated them. Our running was dominating them. And our receivers were getting wide open out there. And like I said, I'm not talking about 2-3 steps ahead of a guy. I'm talking wide open, where there's nobody within 5-10 yards of them. Where the defenders didn't know they were there, It's happened 10 times. 10 times. I don't know if Jameis Winston ever reached that level.
I don't think so. I mean, his was like a handful, maybe. Not even that. I think that would be high.
He would do 5, 6, 7 times a game generally, but a lot of that had to do with Cutter just scheming guys open. I can't remember a game that I've seen this many guys wide open since Cutter. I mean, this Washington's defense was horrible. Their secondary was total crap. We should have put up 50 points on them easy, but something was wrong with Tom Brady, and he kept checking down to the running backs, Fournette mainly. I mean, almost. I don't know. It was just so weird because he had plenty of time. The offensive line was doing great. They screwed up once at the beginning, and other than that, there was hardly any slip-ups. And Tom Brady had plenty of time back there. I don't know if he got spooked or if he was hurt or if his mind is just somewhere else or whatever, or if he's pissed. I don't know if he's pissed at the team or, the front office or whatever. And he's just like, yeah, screw this. And he just checks it down every time. I don't know, but there's something wrong there. And that these idiot reporters don't know this and don't ask them. I don't get the opportunity to ask them. I'm not there. I don't have access to these guys. I'm not Access Media. It's their responsibility. They should be doing that. They should be asking Tom Brady, hey, we noticed out there you missed a lot of you missed seeing a lot of open receivers out there. Is everything all right, man? You're not going to hear that from them, until somebody like me or Anthony Beck. I think he even pointed out that Mike Evans was open on quite a few of those plays, but it was even worse than that. I mean, 10 guys. So anyhow, it doesn't end there. There's something wrong with our defense. I don't know if there's the war going on there too, but JPP, I want to say Shaq. Not gonna put him in this category yet. The Ndamukong Suh, maybe Levante, Jamal Dean. These guys are not doing anything out there. I mean, nothing. JPP, he's playing like somebody that shouldn't be on the field. He's hurt, but he's really just a body out there in this game. He was just there, and he
Do you think it's the injuries or is it mental?
Yeah, I don't know. With him, it looked like, I don't know what shoulder it is, but I would say it was the left one, the way he was doing, because he was always putting his right arm up, keeping his left arm down. But, even that's not like JPP. He would fight through that, but he's out there. He's not putting up any fight. Mm-hmm. None. Suh is getting pushed around. But now, don't get me wrong, Redskins' offensive line is good, and they played well. But the effort these guys put in is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Levante had a couple good plays, but generally, he was just kind of sitting there watching a lot, kind of like last year when we pointed that out. Suh, that's really surprising with him. I mean, he was literally getting pushed out of the way. It reminds me of Gerald McCoy, the way Gerald McCoy on run plays would just get moved out of the way. That does not happen to Suh, but he did in this game. And he just didn't have that oomph, that fire. As a matter of fact, the one sack he got because everybody else flushed Heineke out, and then he ran up and basically tapped him while he was down. Suh did absolutely nothing on that play. Nothing. Shaq Barrett, he had one good play that I can recall, just off the top of my head. He probably had more than that, but he had quite a few mistakes, which that's unlike Shaq Barrett.
Yeah, he never does that.
And he just didn't seem like he was fighting hard. Jamal Dean, I'm about giving up on that dude. Jamal Dean, I'm about giving up. I talked him up last year, and then I was kind of disappointed in his thing. And this year I've been, but his lack of effort in this game, it just screamed off the screen. I So there wasn't a whole lot of celebrating, even when they did make a play. They weren't congratulating each other, and there was quite a few plays where when they screwed up, they were yelling at each other. There was more fighting with each other than I saw than anything else. Like the last touchdown they made, Gibson runs to the left. It was on the 1 yard line. He runs to the left and just basically walked in. It looked like it should have been Devin White out there, but JPP was the defensive end on that play. He should have had contain. He kind of went inside. Devin White I don't even know what he was doing. He didn't look like he was doing anything. And Levante David ran out to try to get Gibson, and he couldn't get there in time because he was basically in the middle of the field, so it was hard for him. So, but anyhow, as soon as he gets out there, you see JPP throwing his hands up and yelling at Levante David. Levante David turning around, yelling at Devin White. They were not happy with each other. So, I don't know what's going on with this team, but I'm kind of worried. And really? I did not walk into this worried about this. But after watching this game film, I was like, oof, yeesh. So, if they're like waiting towards the end of the season to start playing hard, they need to
get it together now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
we're almost at the point of no return where you're like, okay, let's get it together, guys.
Yes. And, but when this article came out, I was like, oh, just speculation. I was like, oh my goodness, maybe that's what it is. Maybe they've known about this for 2 weeks, and they're fighting and, picking sides, and everybody, it's like rats leaving a sinking ship, because this could sink our season.
Yeah. Especially, I don't know who it's going to impact if it's true that other players are implicated, but.
Yeah. Right.
How many people could we stand to lose where it's not going to cost us? Because it would be an instant suspension by the NFL. They're not going to play around with that.
Yeah, and they're gonna put Tom Brady under a microscope.
Yeah.
And this could go up to ownership. They might. Rick Stroud. Why'd you have to print this story? Now, of course, they would leak it to somebody else. Somebody else could have printed it. But, dude, this stink is never going to leave you. Never.
I know. Who's going to want to talk to him on the team? Ever. Would you?
No. Well, I'd like to talk to him, but not friendly. Okay, so more with the game film. Last against the Saints, I talked about that weird defense they were running, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, they did it a few times. It was really weird. I've never seen anything like this. So I'm going to put a video out on this game. We had actually planned when we were doing the podcast here to do some screen sharing, and I was going to go over the video as I'm talking about it, but we just didn't have time to do it. Hopefully that's something we're going to be able to get going here soon. But I'm definitely going to do a video on this game. But I'm calling it the 3-5-2 or the 4-4-5. Wait a minute. 3-5-3 or the 4-5-2.
I'm trying to do the math.
Yeah.
We'll
have 4 down linemen rush, and then we'll have 5 guys fall back 10 yards from the line of scrimmage in a line. And then we'll have 2 guys over top of them, or 3 sometimes. 3. Sometimes we won't have 5 guys in a line. We'll have 4 guys. But it's a very, very strange defense. And I can't find anywhere, I've never seen it before, but I can't find anywhere that, explains it or talks about it. I've seen variations, but we're leaving the flats totally wide open, which, normally in, cover 2 or whatever, we'll have guys that, when you play zone like that, you have guys that watch the flats, but we're not watching the flats at all. We're letting them catch it, and then we're running up to them. It's almost like that Mike Smith defense where you keep everything in front of you. Mm-hmm. Okay, now against the Saints, we did this play, that scheme, 5-6 times, and I was just like, wow, I've seen it sprinkled here and there, but then during the Saints game, we did it more. This game, almost exclusive. I mean, we did it probably 20 times.
Does it work?
Well, what do you think? They were just coming down the field on us. I think it's something Todd Bowles has designed, and he's trying to work out the kinks in it and everything. Mm-hmm. But again, this is one of those things where you're like, why isn't anybody talking about this? This is their job to talk about this team. You know, Rick Stroud, how about why don't you talk about that? Here's a new defense that I'm aware of. I mean, it might not be new, but I've never seen it before. Here's a new defense being, gradually introduced into the NFL. Now, here's the funny thing about this. See, this is how the NFL works. When a team does something, other teams will start copying it. Mm-hmm. Guess what I saw the Redskins do in this game?
Our defense.
That defense. They did it one time. And I was like, whoa, what? Exact same thing. Lined up 5 guys 10 yards off the ball.
Did it work for them?
I can't remember. I have to look that. But I could see where it will be effective, but it definitely takes the top off. I mean, you can't throw anything 10 yards deep. It's almost like a prevent defense, but we're using it in first down, second down, third down. I mean, we played zone almost exclusively in this game up until that last drive in the fourth quarter. Then we started playing some press man, and they got that last drive was just kind of impossible to describe. They just got some plays where you're like, that shouldn't have happened, and then the next play you're like, yeah, that shouldn't happen either. And they got 2 pass plays that were quick slants on man press coverage with a defender draped on them. A man in Devin White came in free. Nobody blocked him at all from the left side, the left tackle. Devin White was lined up right by the left tackle. Left tackle crashes down. Devin White came in free at the quarterback who's running, throwing to the left, throwing right where Devin White is running from. Devin White is literally right in his face the whole time. And he throws to a receiver doing a slant who's coming across with a defender draped on him. I mean, draped on him. There was nowhere for him to throw that ball. So he had to not get hit by Devin White. He knew Devin White was going to hit him. Devin White did hit him too, clobbered him. And Devin White could bat the pass down or whatever. So you got to throw this ball. You got to throw it quick to a receiver who's completely covered. And it worked for him. It just shouldn't have happened. It just shouldn't happen. Not only that, but they did it twice, back to back. It was just like, no, that's not possible. I don't know, just the gods were on their side. But there's something wrong with our team, and this, of course, this is all just speculation, but they're playing like they're
distracted.
Yeah.
Preoccupied.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's not that important to them right now to be out there on the field, maybe. and it seems to be just certain guys, but don't know. But the Tom Brady thing, that's a little concerning. My thought was, like I said, that he got hurt and he felt like he just couldn't throw it deep. So he didn't even look deep. Mm-hmm. He was like, I'm just going to dump it underneath. But then, later in the game, he threw it deep a couple times. And you're like, well, those were pretty good passes. Why don't you do that more often? Because you got guys open down there. And, and then with the defense, Ndamukong Suh, he's a consummate professional. I mean, this guy, he goes out there, he plays. Now, he's not going to give you these spectacular plays all the time, but he does his job. And you do not run on the Ndamukong Suh. You do not push him out of the way. You don't do it. I don't see it. I mean, I've seen it happen maybe a handful of times in the 3 years he's been here, and I saw it happen in this game more than I have in 3 years with him. Now, granted, the Redskins they got a great offensive line, but they're not that great. Suh just didn't. he just didn't seem like he was into it. Same thing with JPP. I know he's hurt and everything, but maybe he's coming out with the hurt thing as an excuse to not, these guys that look like they're not really trying that hard because they don't want to get hurt. Maybe I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't know the answers. It's all speculation. But I'm telling you, what I saw is there's quite a few guys on this team who are not playing hard. Jamal Dean. It's hard for me to throw Shaq Barrett in there. He had some good plays, but he's just not playing like you normally see him play. JPP, Sue, Levante, I don't know about that. Like I said, he's kind of in the Shaq Barrett category where, a few great plays and then the rest of the game he's kind of just not there. Well,
and that's also like if some of the players have quit or aren't giving it all, it kind of trickles down, and it might take a while for it to trickle down to players like that. Yeah. Like Levante, like Shaq, like they might be on the bubble, they might be late adapters, whatever.
Not up with the latest fashions.
Yeah.
I don't know. And again, guys, I'm not trying to freak anybody out about all this stuff, and you can just take it with it. It could have been just an off game, and it might have been a coincidence that it happened kind of the same way with the Saints game. Now, this one was a lot more in your face than the Saints game. The Saints game, you just couldn't. I was just like, what? The Saints didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. They were just there, and we were just shooting ourselves in the foot and not playing well. And this game, it was kind of the same, but it just really jumped off the screen at you that, there's something wrong here. These guys are either hurt or they don't want to play, or maybe they're saving their energy for later in the year. I don't know. But that doesn't explain why Tom Brady would not see 10 open receivers down the field. And let's think about this. He only got 40 snaps total? 11 of those were rushing plays. So he only had like 30 pass attempts. Out of those 30, he had 10 times where he had wide open receivers. And he didn't see them. Or he saw them and just couldn't throw to them. Don't know. I got to do this video because I don't think people can really grasp
what is happening here.
Yeah. The Redskins secondary just couldn't. They're bad. They're really bad because we were open all over the place. And they're just very fortunate that we didn't take advantage of it.
Well, now I'm freaked out.
Yeah, I am too. And I don't like feeling like this. I'm angry about the Antonio Brown stuff, and I'm freaked out about what I'm seeing on game film. Now, we watched, was it Larry Foote? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the outside linebackers coach.
Yeah.
Right? We watched his press conference the other day.
Brutally honest.
Oh, man.
Well, he's a former player. He used to play for the Steelers.
Yeah.
He played under BA, actually. Well, BA was offense, but.
Yeah, when was that? The Steelers? That had to have been in the 90s?
No, 2000s. Hold on, I'm looking him up.
But he was brutally honest about these young kids. I mean, some of the stuff he said, I was just sitting there going, whoa.
Yeah. He was with the Steelers 2002 to 2008. Yeah. Oh, and then again 2010, 2002, 2013.
Yeah, he was saying that, these young guys on the team, they don't know how to fight through adversity. They're not tough. They expect everything handed to them.
Well, I felt like he was saying that about all NFL players now.
Yeah.
With the exception of Tom Brady, who was in the league at the same time.
Right. He mentioned Tom Brady. He was like, well, me and Tom Brady, we
came up at the same time.
Yeah, we're old school.
Yeah.
And he kind of ripped into these guys, but he did it with a smile on his face.
Yeah. And you can tell he's not used to being in front of a microphone that much. Like, he kind of said a little too much, I thought.
Yeah, I did too. And I was thinking, how is this going to go in the
Yeah, I could
the
see
room?
that really.
Yeah, players are not going to like hearing that.
Yeah.
But maybe he's one of those coaches that, he tells you that on the field,
Well, he said, he was like, there was a clip of a coach who put his hands on a player, and he was like, I don't know where it was from. It wasn't in the NFL, the high school or college or what. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, and the coach got fired.
I don't know the context.
Yeah.
But he said, in my day, it was like your parents were telling them to get physical with you. It was not.
He said, my parents were out there encouraging the coaches to whoop my butt. Yeah, right. That's how I grew up too.
Yeah.
I mean, in the neighborhood, every parent in the neighborhood had full right to whoop your butt if you did something wrong. And, it was well known. I mean, if you're out, you do something wrong, any grown up sees you, you can get your butt whooped by them. Mm-hmm. And they drag you home, put you in front of your parents, and they give you a butt whooping. Mm-hmm. So I see where he's coming from, but the whole time he was saying it, I was like, man, I hope he said this to these guys before, because if they're just now hearing this, that's going to cause some problems in the locker room.
And then they asked about Tryon, and he's about the number of snaps Tryon's getting. He was like, well, he should have gotten, that's what he gets for getting drafted at 32.
Right.
Basically, he should have been better to get drafted higher if he wanted snaps. I was like, ooh.
He was like, if you'd been drafted top 5, top 10, you'd be starting. I was like, whoa. Oh, and he said, what was it he said? He said the big money plays, something like that. He was like, the guys with the big contracts, they're the ones that get the snaps.
Yeah.
We go down from there. That's what he said. Yeah.
Which I'm like, they don't normally talk about that.
Yeah. Now Tryon was playing hard out there, but I tell you what, this Redskins defense ain't nothing to be messed up, or this Redskins offensive line. And Tryon could not get. He's just too small. These guys are. I mean, Redskins defense. I tell you who was giving Redskins offensive line a problem was Vita. Vita was having fun with those boys.
Yeah.
And they I mean, it was a back and forth. They were giving him a hard time, and he was giving them a hard time. But Nacho did good, and Golston did pretty good. Oh, and Nelson did pretty decent. For Nelson. So again, I mean, those guys were out there busting. Nacho was just out there killing it. I mean, he was being Nacho, just nonstop motor. And Golston did pretty good, and Vita was being Vita. But like I said, Shaq Barrett. It's hard for me to say that he wasn't trying. It's just because these guys that offensive line is good, and they were putting a stop on it. Now he had a couple plays that were quite impressive. He bull rushed that left tackle one time. I was like, whoa, that was good. Yeah. It was back when they were backed up in the end zone. And Heineke was trying to throw a pass, and Barrett was the reason why they had to punt, because he just bull rushed that left tackle, pushed him right back into Heineke, made an errant pass. I was like, yeah. So when you see stuff like that, you go, well, that's hard work right there.
Yeah.
So that's why it's hard to say that Shaq wasn't busting his butt. He just wasn't very effective.
Yeah. And especially if other guys on the line aren't giving effort either.
Right.
They're not helping you out, and they're not doing you any favors.
Yeah. Nelson played a lot more than I was expecting, than he normally does. JPP, if he's hurt the way he would, we need to take him out of the game, man. Or at least definitely limit his snaps, because he was totally ineffective out there. As a matter of fact, I would say quite a few times he was a detriment. And it doesn't look like he's trying. JPP is a kind of like a honey badger out there. He just limbs flailing, feet going,
motor
spinning,
going.
motor. Yeah, he would chase you down all the way across the field. He wasn't doing none of that. He jumped up a couple of times, tried to bat ball, but other than that, he got knocked on his ass quite a few times. So did Sue. Sue got taken down. And again, it just doesn't happen. Susan hasn't been playing that great this year, I don't think. And, he got, who was it, against the Saints? I can't remember. He got body slammed. He just got pushed right on his ass. Taken off his feet, landed right on his back. I ain't never seen anything like that happen with Sue. So again, it might be the fact that he's got twins at home and he ain't getting any sleep.
I swear it's something. It's got to be that.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, not for everybody. Not everybody that has a baby
Yes.
does that, but a lot of the guys that do. With JPP, he said he's not sleeping.
Yeah, that could be.
I mean, that's
got to get sleep, man.
You got to get your sleep. You're not going to heal. Your head's not going to be right for the game. You're going to be slow, sluggish, disoriented.
Winfield, he was out there kicking butt.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem with him. We didn't have Cockrell out there that much. We replaced him with Edwards. That was very strange. Edwards, he played well. Whitehead, those guys were playing hard, but not being that effective. Winfield was being effective. Edwards and Whitehead, not so much. Offensive line did well.
Mm-hmm.
There was only, let me see, Donovan Smith got beat by Young once. Kappa, let me see, Kappa got beat by 98 for a pressure. Yeah, see, that's the second quarter there. Kappa beat by 94 for a pressure in the third quarter. And see, Marpet got steamrolled on a stunt, and he ended up holding the guy and dragging him down with him. Should have been holding. Yeah.
He didn't get called though.
No.
Okay, cool.
Let's see, Kappa pulled one time. He went to the left side, ended up tripping on Cameron Brate's big feet. It fell down, didn't block anybody, and the guy who was supposed to block ended up tackling before that. He just fell right on his face. Yeah. But other than that, that's great stats for the offensive line there.
Yeah.
There was that at the beginning, Marpet getting beat, that hit on Brady, but after that, they played great. So, hopefully I'm reading way too much into this, and it's just it was just two bad games for us. This last one being really bad, but you got to be concerned about Tom Brady not being able to see those guys, or not being able to throw to him, or not thinking he could throw to him, or whatever. It was very shocking to see that, because he doesn't do it that often. When he was with Patriots, and I watched game film on him, he'd do it every now and then. And like we said, Jameis Winston was notorious for it. He would, like I said, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a game, he would miss wide open receivers. He just wouldn't see them. And I said, well, Tom Brady does that too. So, not as much, but, I'm going to see it. Since he's been here, it happens rarely. He sees guys when they get open. And he did with Darden in this one. Darden was wide open over there, got that 30-yard pass. But there was 10 others just like that he didn't see. And it just makes you go, what's going on there? So hopefully I'm reading way too much into all this.
I hope all this just blows over. The vaccine card stuff, nothing comes of it. Yeah,
I hope to find out that he got a vaccine card, it's official, and everybody just shut up. Just stop talking about this mess. I'm tired of hearing about it.
But we had to know, they can't just let it go.
Oh, no.
They can't.
Oh, no.
They will never let this go.
This is going to be the biggest talked about thing.
I know. Well, Aaron Rodgers, that whole fiasco is over. It's out of the headlines. So now they got another one. They got
another one.
Yeah.
How sick is that?
It's
How
disgusting.
sick is it?
They're awful.
Has nothing to do with football.
No.
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Did you see? That video of the ex-Jets running back, Zach?
Oh, my God. That was
a mess
horrible.
Woo.
He threw her into a TV.
Woof. You know what? He's thankful for this story.
Yeah, no kidding.
Took it right out of the...
Nobody knew his name anyway. I don't know who he is.
people know his name now more than they did when he was playing.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that was ugly, ugly stuff.
He threw her into a TV. She's probably about 100 pounds soaking wet.
Then picked her up and slammed her onto the kid's rocker. Now, you could hear the kid in the background, but I never saw him.
I couldn't see the baby either.
Yeah. And then as he was walking out, he said, "I love you" to somebody. I don't know if it was the kid or
oh my
her.
God.
But you could tell by the way that all played out. One, she had the camera set up. Two,
from two different angles.
Two, she wasn't freaking out like a crazy person would or a normal person would. She just kind of went with it. She was like, "Stop, please stop.
Yeah.
Can you stop doing it?" Kind of. You could tell this has happened quite a few times with those two.
What a piece of garbage.
Oof. Yeah. If you have not seen that video, be prepared. It's tough.
It's nothing. Ray Rice has nothing on this guy.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, Ray Rice did clock his wife. Knocked her out, didn't he?
Well, it only took one.
That was a tough one.
I mean,
that happened. And remember, we had to watch commercials for a full year with a bunch of snobby celebrities telling us not to beat our wives.
Well, now all the idiots in the media will probably say he's got CTE or something. It's like a symptom. Domestic violence is a symptom of CTE. They'll make excuses for him, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, though, it took that right out of the headlines. I don't even know if it made it in the headlines. I didn't see it.
I saw a trend on Twitter this morning.
Yeah, but
then
it was on
gone.
Twitter, and everybody was saying, "Don't repost the video. It's so traumatic. It triggers people. Whatever."
Oh my God, get a life, people.
Yeah, and they were like, just so I heard people talking about it, but they were all saying, he needs to be put under the jail, blah blah blah, like that. And then all of a sudden, guess what? Antonio Brown's got He did a no with the disease. So I'm tired of it. I'm so sick and tired of it. Are we going to have to watch commercials now during the NFL games about don't use a fake vaccine card? That's what always happens. They do bad stuff. We get lectured to.
I know. Well, Antonio Brown's attorney came out with a statement and he said it's false.
Oh, yeah.
He's vaccinated. And he said, do the right thing and get vaccinated, everyone.
Yeah,
he made like a PSA.
And he said, this is really degrading all the efforts that we've done to combat the disease to be doing this soap opera speculation or something like that.
That's right. You just finger wag right back at the media. That's how you got to deal with these people.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to get that video done. I don't know if I'll be able to get it tomorrow. I was really disappointed that we weren't able to get it done today, but people need to see what I'm talking about. And I think they'll be of the same mindset that I am, that, there's something wrong there. So I hope that it's just everybody just coincidentally had a bad day. I hope there's nothing physically wrong with Brady. I hope there's not something mentally wrong with Brady. I hope he's not pissed at the team.
Or that they're not coming after him, or Guerrero. It's just as bad. Yeah. I got a little bit of news. I'm going to touch on that real quick.
Do it.
The Saints placed defensive back C.J. Gardner-Johnson on IR with a foot injury. So he's out 3 to 4 weeks. But he'll be able to return. We placed Richard Sherman on IR. I'm so glad we got those 2 bad games out of him. And now he's on IR. I think he is probably good for the younger guys. But it's just kind of annoying. We are getting long snapper Zach Triner. He's been designated to return to practice. So he had that tendon injury in his finger.
I haven't noticed he was gone. Have we had any long snap problems? No.
Nope, at all. I know. And then Sean Murphy Bunting and Scotty Miller were practicing today. And Greg Auman said that they are progressing as they prepare to come off IR. So they could be back on Monday. We don't know yet. Their deadline to return is next week. So we'll see. And then lastly, Gronk and JPP return to practice in a full capacity today. And I've got the injury report I just want to run through real quick, and then we can wrap it up. So Antonio Brown with his ankle injury and fake COVID card did not participate Thursday. D. Delaney, cornerback, has an ankle and a concussion. And he's in the concussion protocol, so he didn't practice today. Chris Godwin with his foot was limited. Gronk with the back, full participant. JPP, full participant. And then Vita with the knee did not participate. And then on the Giants side, Saquon Barkley has that ankle injury. He was limited today, so he has returned to practice. Devontae Booker, their other running back, has a hip injury. He was limited. Linebacker Lorenzo Carter has an illness and an ankle injury, so he did not participate. Defensive back Nate Ebner has a knee injury. He did not participate. Fullback, who has a fullback?
The Giants.
The Giants.
And
Colin Gillespie has a calf injury. He was limited.
The Saints have a fullback.
I think so.
Right? Keith Smith.
And San Francisco, Juszczyk. They got Juszczyk. Wide receiver Sterling Shepard has a quad injury. He did not participate. And then tight end Caden Smith has a knee injury, and he did not participate. So that is Thursday's injury report. We'll have 2 more this week, I guess. So Friday and Saturday, since we have a Monday night game.
Right. So Saturday will be the official last one. Real quick on the game film, I counted 13 uncalled. Well, no, I'm sorry. 11 uncalled penalties. 2 penalties that were called that were BS. The pass interference, I said that I think it was Delaney in the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to not complain about that one so much because I just could not get a good angle on it. And it's
fair.
The broadcast, they're absolutely horrible with some of these things. You know, they'll replay it once, and then they'll show the guy standing around in a huddle or somebody on the sideline picking their nose or whatever.
Or a commercial, or even worse.
Yeah, they're doing this thing where they're showing commercials now while they're showing. So just could not get a good angle to see what actually happened there. So I withdrew my complaint on that one. But we did have hands to the face masks, holding on the Bucks. Bucks held twice. That was uncalled. That horse collar one was definitely a horse collar. I showed you that one.
Mm-hmm.
It was the same exact play Devin White did to Jameis Winston. Another face mask, hands to the face. Sheriff did on Vita. Let me see. Yeah, some holding. Not a whole lot though. I wasn't too upset about the refs in this game. Neither side really did any dirty plays, or they both played pretty clean.
Well, good.
Yeah. Except the Redskins. They suck. All right.
Terrible.
Guys, I hope I didn't freak y'all out about the state of the Bucks. And it's funny because, I was originally, after that game, I was like, yeah, it's just a bump in the road. We're going to move on. But then after watching the game film, I was like, there's something wrong here, and I hope it gets worked out. I mean, obviously, it jumps right out at you. I mean, it's just like, oof, what's going on here? So we'll see. Hopefully Monday night we won't be an embarrassment. The big story is going to be the Antonio Brown vaccine card. Thank you for that, Rick Stroud and the Tampa Bay Times. Y'all are friends of the Buccaneers, he says sarcastically. So, all right. We'll probably have another podcast out Saturday. We're going to do a preview of the Giants game. So be prepared for that. And till then,
go Bucks.